No, you did not read that wrong, and before you click off thinking this is some kind of joke, stay with me. Because what went down on SmackDown this past Friday night is one of the most wildly entertaining, deeply bizarre, and somehow emotionally gripping moments WWE has produced in years. And if you don't watch this video till the very end, you are going to miss the part where this whole thing actually starts to make perfect sense. The Gingerbread Man is dead. Sami Zayn killed him. WWE aired the graphic. Trick Williams threw up the X sign. And now, there is a funeral scheduled for next week's SmackDown. A legitimate, announced on television funeral. For a cookie costume. Welcome to Pro Wrestling in 2026, baby. And honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way. Let's go back to where this all began. Because if you haven't been following this storyline closely, you've been sleeping on one of the most creative slow burns WWE has cooked up in a long time. It started at WrestleMania 42, Night 2 in Las Vegas. Sami Zayn, the man who had been one of the most beloved figures in all of professional wrestling for years, the guy who rode crowd chants to the moon, who had an entire arena in the palm of his hand week after week, that guy walked into WrestleMania as the United States champion, and he walked out without it. Trick Williams, the electrifying, charismatic, former three-time NXT champion who made the jump to the main roster earlier this year, pinned Sami Zayn clean in the middle of the ring and took the title. Now here's where it gets interesting. The crowd, they cheered for Trick, loudly, almost unanimously. And Sami Zayn noticed. Of course he noticed. This is a man who has built his entire identity around his connection with the audience. So when those same fans who used to chant his name started booing him, started turning their backs on him, something cracked inside of Sami Zayn. And cracks, left alone long enough, become fractures. And fractures become complete collapse. Fast forward a couple of weeks. Trick Williams is celebrating his United States Championship victory on SmackDown. He brings out his guest, rapper Lil Yachty, and they're having a grand old time. And then, out of nowhere, a mysterious figure in a giant gingerbread man costume storms the ring. He attacks Williams from behind with a giant candy cane. He turns and lays out Lil Yachty, and then he takes the mask off. Sami Zayn, grinning, dancing in the ring, that unhinged little shimmy he does when he knows he's done something absolutely unhinged. The crowd lost their minds, and not entirely in the way Sami might have wanted. See, Trick Williams had been calling Sami a gingerbread man for weeks, a throwaway insult. Something about Sami being a ginger, something about him being hollow on the inside. And instead of laughing it off or ignoring it, Sami Zayn weaponized it. He showed up in the Gingerbread Man costume. He leaned into the bit. Only it didn't get him the reaction he was looking for. Instead of heat, people kind of just laughed. Uncomfortably. The way you laugh at something that's a little too weird to boo but too strange to cheer. And that tension, that uncomfortable, confused energy in the arena carried all the way into this past Friday night. On the May 1st episode of SmackDown in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Sami Zayn came out to cut a promo. But it wasn't a clean, tight, focused heel promo. This was something messier, something more unhinged. He compared himself to Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan being booed for going electric. His point? The crowd doesn't always understand genius when they see it. He did everything right. He gave everything he had, and still they turned on him. In his mind, that's not his failure, that's their failure. And then he brought out the Gingerbread Man. Not a person, a costume. On a mannequin, dragged to the ring like a prisoner being brought to an execution. What happened next is something that is going to be talked about for years. Sami Zayn beat the living daylights out of that costume. He threw punches at it. He hit it with a low blow, yes, a low blow, on a mannequin in a cookie suit. He grabs one of its arms and tore it clean off. He dismantled it piece by piece, completely losing himself in the process, screaming and snarling while the crowd watched in stunned silence, not entirely sure if they should be horrified or entertained. And WWE, God bless them, played it completely straight. Officials rushed to the ring. Medical staff came sprinting down the aisle. Trick Williams burst out from the back, desperately trying to get to the Gingerbread Man in time, but it was too late. Sami had already fled.
Williams dropped to his knees. He checked on what was left of the costume. He looked up at the referee. He threw up the X sign, the universal signal in wrestling for a legitimate emergency. For a gingerbread man on a mannequin. Word came back from the trainer's room. The gingerbread man didn't make it, and Trick Williams was furious. He immediately challenged Sami Zayn to a rematch, United States Championship on the line at Backlash on May 9th in Tampa, Florida. SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis confirmed it, and then WWE aired the In-Memoriam graphic. Rest in pieces. Now look, the internet had opinions about this. Big, loud, divided opinions. Some people thought it was the most bizarre, over-the-top, borderline embarrassing thing WWE had done in years. Some outlets called it one of the silliest segments in recent memory. And honestly, those people aren't entirely wrong. On paper, this sounds absolutely ridiculous. But here's what those people are missing. Here's what I want you to really think about. Sami Zayn's character right now is one of the most layered things in WWE. This isn't just a heel turn. WWE didn't wake up one day and decide to make Sami a villain. The crowd shifted on him first. Fans started gravitating toward Trick Williams, started booing Sami even when he wasn't doing anything wrong. And Sami, the character, not the performer, started breaking down in real time, trying to process that rejection. He's not a man who became evil. He's a man who feels abandoned. And that is so much more interesting. The Gingerbread Man segment isn't just goofy television. It is the complete psychological unraveling of a guy who used to be the most loved man in the building, now destroying the very symbol of how people mock him in front of an audience that can't figure out whether to boo him, laugh at him, or feel genuinely sorry for him. That ambiguity, that discomfort, that's not a creative failure. That's a tightrope act, and Sami Zayn is walking it perfectly. There's also his backstage confrontation with Cody Rhodes earlier that same night.
Sami pulled Cody aside and tried to explain that calling him the Golden Boy was a compliment, that they are the same, two guys who clawed their way to the top and got overlooked anyway. Cody's response was chilling in its simplicity. "You spoke some truth, Sami, but we are not the same." That line is doing a lot of work because it tells us exactly where both men stand, and it quietly plants the seed for a potential future feud that could be absolutely incredible. But before we get there, Backlash, May 9th, Tampa, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams for the United States Championship, a rematch from WrestleMania. And before that match even happens, there's a funeral to attend on next week's SmackDown. A funeral for the Gingerbread Man, with Trick Williams as the host. Whatever you think about this angle, love it, hate it, or can't stop laughing at it, you absolutely cannot tell me you're not going to watch that funeral. WWE has done something rare here. They've created a segment so weird, so completely unlike anything else on television, that it has become unmissable. And sometimes in this business, that's the whole point. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. We break down every wild WWE moment as it happens. And if you're enjoying this breakdown, we genuinely love it if you left a comment and shared it with a fellow wrestling fan. It means everything to us, and it helps us keep bringing you content like this. The Gingerbread Man is gone, the funeral is next week, and Sami Zayn is just getting started.